Hey you guys, Class Wars Finals here, and I'm just going to comment as I watch my own video because I was having some mic troubles and it crapped out on me in the middle of recording this. Luckily, no disconnections or anything like that because I've had quite a few of those recently in finals. I'm up to 261k BR buffed up, and I did finish the last available level of Dragon Soul. So that's a nice BR boost. And I'm changing up the skills, not bringing Puri, just because I'm realizing when I look back at preliminaries that the Centauria really does cover the bleeds, especially when you get into the higher BR players who have tons of HP, and that pretty much covers everybody in the top 16 of Class Wars. Also, not bringing the bleed rune. Amnesia and Guardian are both runes that are really meant to be used close to awakening myself, and so if one of them gets amnesia'd away, I can use the other. So I'm basically just saying that I'm not going to use any runes before awakening, and just make sure that I have one available for when I do awaken. So this fight against Saronia, I made a little mistake at the beginning, and I did Rain of Fire too soon. I really had meant to check if she was a Chaos Rune user, before I did that. But really, it's not a huge deal with mages, just because the troops are pretty easy to clear. But I definitely noted that when I was playing, and adjusted in the future. So I think this is just a BR gap. I definitely overpowered, and especially when it's an Aegis versus Aegis user. I mean, there's so much dark resistance involved that I definitely had an advantage. So round 2, and I get Arlie, who I know recently acquired quite a bit more BR. Last month, she was a lot more of a disadvantage against me, and she's relatively new to the top players in the top of Mage class wars. So I think there's definitely an experience advantage, as well as I think she's on a younger server, so she probably has an astral disadvantage as well. I'm a little bit surprised that she's not bringing a dark pet, but I think some people still think that Hercules is the option for mages, or at least one of the better ones. I tend to really disagree. I think Cerberus is a great non-Aegis alternative, but I don't actually think that Hercules is the best way to go here. So got the HR this time. I was very worried about facing him, just because I am very scared of that orange Cerberus. Can pack a real punch. Also another Chaos Rune user, which it is a really great lead. It messes people up in the beginning, but I'm not really sure that matters in a mage fight. I don't think it messes people up bad enough that it's worth bringing. It's very annoying in the beginning, but pretty much any top player can kind of muddle their way through it. So yeah, not my favorite choice, but also pretty much have to deal with it. I would say like half the fights. So here he gets an amnesia on me, so I didn't take out his amnesia, but that's okay. Actually, I used the Guardian rune, scratch that, so I didn't even try to take out the the amnesia. Alright, sorry if the commentary is a little bit choppy at the ends of the first fights. I think right about now is when I started to realize that fiddling with my audio wasn't going to really do anything for me. So I think I just gave up on the mic here. So I got a big fight against Gruntar pretty early on, and and I was very concerned about this one, but also feeling really confident going into this class wars, and I think that helped me. I felt well prepared and very content with whatever skills I had chosen, and so I think that kind of helped my play as well. So a damnation into awakening here, and I'm gonna take out his skills with amnesia, and hopefully take out something useful for him. Here I do something a little bit nasty, which is this skill awe on that's available for Aegis. Took away some of his awakening points, so I stalled his chance to awaken early, and that's a big deal in class wars or just PvP in general. Getting to yourself early is very important. Oh, and I just got a really nasty deflect on him there. So that was a really big win. Alright, 4 fights in, and the field had narrowed down to 4 people tied for first as far as win records. Robbie and Solara and myself. And and then of course I get Solara early on. So it doesn't really matter which order you get people in finals. You do have to fight everybody once, so just be prepared for whomever. So yeah, so he has a bleed on me, and I do the Centauria, and so the bleed is for 5k, and my Centauria is for I didn't quite see that okay, it's like 18k when I'm buffed up per tick, so really it counters the bleed very nicely. So a damnation into, well, actually not a damnation that time, but a bolt into amnesia. Oh wait, I did Guardian Rune. My god. Even when I'm commenting on my own videos and I'm not even playing, I end up misspeaking. But now it's easier for me to catch. So he gets a nice ult there, but I think I get a nasty deflect on him. Yeah, right there. 26k, and that was definitely enough to help me out. Here I get out and I push the amnesia rune, and I just hope that I can kill him in time before he can heal. Had I healed there, the fight would have dragged on a lot longer, and the result would have been more up in the air. So in that case, I was really just trying to kill as soon as possible. Had he not died from the rain of fire, I could have immediately used a restore as well. So yeah, that was a really big win. So in 3 fights, I covered DHR, Solara, and Gruntar. So I was feeling, I was very, very happy at this point. Put it that way. Very pleased with myself, and feeling good going into things. So now it's Robbie, Ann, and myself with 5 wins. But it takes me quite a while before I actually get to fight one of them. So here we get Ray 7, who is the one wind sylph user. She has Medusa now. I think before was still Pan, and so yeah, I'm always worried about this one. I treated everybody in this class wars the same, regardless of Sylph. Even if they had a dark pet, I was really trying to be if not the first one to Sylph, still Sylphing as soon as I possibly could. Just timing it so that right after I Damnationed, I would be able to go into Sylph and Rune. And that was my strategy against every single player. And for me, definitely, I was worried about my wind resistance. All of my resistances are in Electro, Dark, and Wind. So of course, pretty much any class you play, you should be cautious if somebody decides to bring a Pan or Medusa. There's not a lot of just raw damage. The Delphic isn't that huge, but you know, better safe than sorry. Ranking still pretty much the same going into the 7th round. Not sure about the lower ranks, but definitely the top 6 have not really changed. Euphoric here, who's always who I'm always happy to see. He definitely hasn't played as much recently, but he still stays among the top players. Or at least I stopped seeing him in PvP things as much, aside from class wars. But a very strong player, and once upon a time he was definitely a contender for the top 3. And I think he might have placed before, but I don't know, memory's probably failing me a little bit. So here, I mean, I kept on trying to time it so that I would Damnation and go into Sylph, and sometimes it would trip up, so I would either auto attack to stall it a little bit if I think I didn't have enough time, or I was going to be too early, or I would just Damnation and then have to use another skill to make sure that I could Rune after. So I don't think anybody who used a Hercules placed in the top 6. So Lara definitely, I mean, decided to go with Aegis instead this time. Gruntar and Garlic both brought Aegis, and then Robbie and myself, I think, always have used Dark for a while now. And here, and I end up commenting in guild chat that I can actually hear the audio start to lag. So I was definitely having a little bit of lag issues, but I've just had so many disconnection issues with Class Wars finals the past couple of times, so I was just too scared to refresh or do anything. I didn't want to miss a fight, so I just stuck it out. So I thought at this point, Robbie, Ann, and I were definitely going to place top 3, and that all of the standings had kind of grouped off into 2 different groups. It doesn't actually end up that way, but you know, happens. But at least as of now, we're pretty much all in the same positions. Have a fight against Phi now, who I think I end up mistaking for Garlic at one point. And even though I didn't really restore anything there, or at least there wasn't much to restore, it doesn't hurt to get that little QTE bonus, which gives a 10% damage reduction, or at least I don't mind it. So here I'm trying to get a double hit, and I do. You can see my skills blinking, and that's a sign that I'm at least on the right track. It's much harder to pull off in PvP. Something usually has to happen on the opponent's side, but at least there's room that if an error occurs, you know, it's okay. I think that was a deflect. It looked like a little too much damage taken to be a bleed. But the Aegis Delphic does have a chance of putting a 2% bleed on the target. Top 3, we're still holding out strong here. For some reason, I thought I had just fought Garlic, but I actually you know, obviously was fighting Fi. So later on, I was thoroughly confused, but I guess it doesn't really matter. Whoever comes by, I just need to win, right? It's pretty much how you have to go into it. Here's King Minion. He's as far as BR goes, second strongest mage in Kabam West, and a buddy of mine. So I'm always happy to compete against him. He also has an orange Aegis, so whenever you look at one of those, even when you have one yourself, you know you're getting yourself into a fight. Get my damnation in, and I think I go with Amnesia here. Sometimes if I see them going to awaken around the same time as myself, I'll go with Guardian. But if I see that they're quite a bit behind me as far as awakening goes, then I'll go with Amnesia. Here it actually ends up being a tight fight. I think you get some nice deflex. Let me see here. Oh, actually, I'm the one who gets a nice deflect. Scratch that. He just got deflected for 48k, and that pretty much wins me the fight. If not, it would have been much closer. But I intentionally had my Astral set up that way, having illusion, for illusion and deflect basically. Those are two Astrals that can help you pull a win out of your butt, and less obviously, but very important is the Guardian Angel. The only problem about Guardian Angel is it's much harder to crit heal yourself. So I was mentioning in guild chat to some of my guildies that I was really trying to go into this very confident. I think I have the right type of personality to psych myself out sometimes. But when I really went out of my way to, like, you know, set myself up and just like feel good about whatever I decided, I think I play a lot better. Do make a small error here, not realizing that Garlic got a Chaos Rune on me. Suntoria really is my favorite heal as far as class wars goes. There are some people who will dare to bring a scatter rune, but I think I see them more in preliminaries. I think Robbie for a while was definitely bringing one, but it didn't seem like he brought it this time around. Even though I'm thinking ahead to a fight that hasn't happened yet, but there are very few people who will bring them, so Suntoria to me is a must-have. Some people think it's too slow, but especially when you have as much HP as the top players, it's definitely a must-have. Here we go. Just got a deflect. That deflection rune is so darn OP. It is really just fantastic. I would pretty much find a way to have it in a PvP situation. Definitely for single PvP. That was a kind of a sweaty fight. But Garlic seems to have really pumped up the BR, and always was quite a strong player. So yeah, that was quite tight. It was a good fight. So here I really get the break that I needed. Robbie took a loss to somebody, so it's just Anne and myself who are undefeated with 10 wins, and so this is really very exciting for me. You know, still not guaranteed to get second, but at least feeling much better, and much more on target. So here we have one where I don't even dare to pronounce the name. Taika? I don't know. But another Herc user. Get that Rain of Fire in. I think Meteor is a good option too, and could replace Rain of Fire here. But I guess it's just personal preference. I like bringing Rain of Fire more. So get that Amnesia rune in. I feel like the Amnesia rune did not perform that great. This time around, I do end up still getting that Amnesia rune several times while I'm in Sylph mode. So it wasn't like it was knocking out my opponent's Amnesia runes on a regular basis. So that was just big. Pretty much all the players who take Hercules take a ton of damage. You know, if they're at half health, they'll likely die to the Aegis Delphic. So here Robbie takes another loss, and so I was feeling like, oh, if I can beat him or Anne, that'd be in really good shape. But those end up being very tough fights. I get him right here, and so this ends up being a big one. He's an Aegis user, and he has a lot more BR than I do. So pretty much hits like a truck, and also doesn't take very much damage. So I do have to outplay him quite a bit. And he's one of the few players, especially in finals, who will bring Thunder, and the slow proc there, and I think it happens again. Yeah, so I get another slow. So not that speedy, but I guess a 2-turn slow isn't too bad. So here I get into Aegis first, but he does get that Amnesia on me. So of course my Amnesia not doing what I want it to do as usual. Still 1 turn on the Amnesia, but just auto. This weird thing happens when I get out of the Amnesia. One of the skills is available to me, but I would think that my ultimate would be available, but very often it'll be like faded out, so I can't click it, and I don't know if it's a bug or it's set up that way, but it's a little bit frustrating that I can't use that. So I end up using one of these little Aegis attacks, which I'm not sure was the best call. So it's very tight. I get a Guardian rune, so I can live through one of these attacks. And even though I have that Guardian Angel on, I manage a really nice crit heal there for 188k. And so I was hoping to just wipe him out here, but it looks like he was going to live, so I started healing. I mean, putting the Suntoria on and getting prepared for another 30 seconds. Get an Amnesia here, which I'm not sure was the best idea, but kind of harmless. And I just want to get into Sylph. I know I have very little HP here, but I'm thinking that I can recover a bunch using Devour Soul. Which I do here. I get a bit, but he gets that Amnesia on me, so next move I end up having to auto attack. Had I been able to get an actual attack out, I think I would have won this fight. But we both end still alive, and I lose to him with I'm pretty sure it goes by damage dealt. So he must have through the fight dealt more overall damage than myself. Had we been on the old system, I would have won, and because I had more HP at the end. But you know, rules change, and so I was a little bit disappointed, but it's okay. And I just go straight into the fight with Anne. Anne plays similarly to myself, I think. I don't actually know what his second rune is, but I know he has an Amnesia hiding somewhere back there. It's tough stuff, but pretty much everybody in the top 16 has an orange Sylph with, you know, a couple rare exceptions, I think. Gruntar doesn't, and I don't know, but... So here I'm thinking I'm going to Damnation and go into Sylph just fine, and my awakening is just not quite ready enough so that when I do awaken, I'm not able to rune, which is so typical of me fighting Anne. I was actually feeling pretty good going into this fight for once. I get a lot of, oh, you're scared of Anne and you're psyching yourself out, which, I mean, I think is true to a certain extent, but Anne and I compete a lot, you know, by chance, through other PvP venues, so it's not like I'm not used to seeing him. He gets a couple nice deflects on me here, which are pretty nasty, and against Anne, that's really problematic. I don't think he brought a deflect rune before. I think he was just using Guardian Angel, which is problematic in and of itself, because I don't crit him a lot, but the deflect addition was pretty rough. So I thought I'd actually be tied up with Robbie and be third to him because he has more BR, but he takes another loss, so it's actually Gruntar and myself in tied for second as far as wins go, and Anne is still undefeated. Eleanor here, who I almost only see in either TOK or here in Class Wars. I'm not sure who has more BR, Eleanor or King Minion, so I might have been lying when I said King Minion was the second strongest Kabam West Mage. That's my bad. So here I'm very close to awakening, so I just do an auto attack and then get the damnation just to time it right. So here I just go with the amnesia, but it doesn't really help my cause. And I get the awe in before her awakening. So I'm not sure if she was actually planning on going for Sylph soon, but I stalled it regardless of you know, whether that was her intention or not. Another deflect. That deflect rune is my baby. It's my favorite rune. I thought it was the biggest load of crap before. I just did not understand why anybody cared. And at lower BRs, it's not a big deal. But when you fight people who are hitting for huge amounts, and it deflects so much damage back, it can be make or break. So last fight, and I pretty much just have to win in order to secure second place. And I know it's against Nicholas here just because of process of elimination. So actually not the easiest fight to make sure that I get second place. But still, the challenge is good. He's telling me not to record when I beat his butt, but that was. Oh, he just used a scatter rune, so he's the one person today that didn't use it. I mean, that did use one, and so it's not a bad idea because Centauri is very nice. I'm healing, you heal a lot for 6 turns, so it's a pretty good idea. But against the Aegis users who can heal with Devour Souls, not fantastic. He does get that amnesia on me, but it's a pretty low level amnesia rune, at least for finals. Really, amnesia starts becoming a problem when it takes away 4 skills, and I get some nasty nasty deflects on him. He's saying a lucky deflect, and it was a good fight. But when I get those nice deflects, it's very problematic. So that's it. Here I had won. I knew I was gonna get second place no matter what Gruntar did. And he does end up winning his fight. But because I have more BR, I place second. So even with the loss to Robbie and Anne, I still managed to eke out that. And so I was very pleased with myself. It's been a long time since I got second, I think. Well, I mean, long time. I guess that's relative. But I think it was like 3 months or something ago. I also placed second. But I've never placed first or third, I think. So yeah, I would love to win, but I'm very pleased with the performance in general, and I had a bunch of really good fights, and so yeah. So the results are up. I got second, and I placed the best on my server, so I get rewards there. I think I got a little confused when I was doing this, and I couldn't figure out how to retrieve the mount. It was actually through the glory crystals button up at the top, but yeah, it was a great class wars for me. I'm lagging like crazy right now because of these fireworks. um, but thanks for watching, you guys. I'm super excited. I hope finals went well for those who were playing in it. Big congrats to Anne because he took back the crown, and and it's not the first time he swept, but it's always very cool to be able to beat everybody, making very clear who won. So big congrats there, and yeah, until next month.